Do you want to have the best physical party build at mid-game? You are in the right place. The Kingsglaive party build is one of my personal builds, a build that can completely wreck any mid-game challenges that the game throws at me. So if you want to decimate your enemies with the hard-hitting slash physical attacks, this build is for you. The Kingsglaive build focuses on boosted slash attacks and deals tons of damage to both single and multiple targets in combat. A build capable of buffing the party with attack and defense boosting skills along with debuffing abilities to boost its overall performance. This party consists of swordmasters, an assassin, and a sniper, allowing the player to deal with pierce and slash damage and even dark elemental attacks. The protagonist will be the main damage dealer in this lineup by wielding the swordmaster archetype, especially if the protagonist was built around pure strength and luck like mine. Equipping the swordmaster will grant you barge pass, which is useful when exploring advanced dungeons and can prevent battles with enemy advantages. Round slash is going to be your standard AoE attack when using this archetype when dealing with trash mobs and only costs 14 MP. Rising slash is a direct upgrade of round slash, dealing medium AoE slash damage to targets, while raging edge is pretty costly by requiring 38 MP but deals tons of damage. I only use rising slash and raging edge when an elite enemy summons more trash mobs or deals with multiple bosses. Slash dodge increases the wielder's chance to avoid slash type of damage, while martial lure is the star of the show, increasing normal attack power by 50%. This is pretty useful when exploring long dungeons since your basic slash attacks will hit hard and lets you save MP in the process. Slotting in heat up is suggested since we do have two swordmasters in this setup, boosting your skill attacks further. Slash boost will take the second slot to increase all of our slash damage by 20%, which is a lot. Slash damage is the focus of this build, so this passive is a must-have. I decided to slot in Assassinate to have a little bit of versatility just in case the enemy is strong against slash damage. Assassinate is perfect for this build since the Swordmaster has an innate high strength and also allows the user to deal dark damage and also gives the wielder a chance to one-shot targets, which is a nice bonus but not something that you need to focus on. The Swordmaster lacks single target slash damaging abilities because it was designed to perform synthesis abilities a lot, starting with Vorpal Blade, which is a great skill that deals extremely high slash AoE damage and lowers the enemy's attack in the process. Although I rarely use this, it is handy when fighting multiple bosses. Bamboo Splitter is a phenomenal skill that I use a lot when dealing with bosses or trash mobs. Upon landing a killing blow after using this skill, it will provide you another turn icon which will then allow you to perform another Bamboo Splitter and deals tons of damage to targets. Because remember, we are going to use two swordmasters in this setup, but the cream of the crop is the Peerless Stone Cleaver, which deals severe slash damage but costs 3 turn icons. This is going to be your ultimate attack in this setup and most of the time being used in boss fights. There is a way of how to optimize this attack while using this setup, so stay tuned for that. And just like Bamboo Splitter, when landing the killer blow after using this skill, it refunds 1 turn icon, which is a great bonus. Just like in my previous build video, I will not be suggesting specific equipment for now as this build revolves around mid-game. Equip the best strength increasing equipment that you have or the best ones from the shops and you will be fine. One requirement though is make sure that the protagonist is slower than Stroll by having lower agility, and more into this later. Stroll is our second man in this setup because of his high strength in general. He will be the second swordmaster which will crush enemies in tandem with the protagonist. His inherited skills will be the same compared to the protagonist except for the last skill, which is Formation Vigor, to buff the entire party's attack by 2 ranks. Or use Mataru Kaja instead if you find it costly. As mentioned previously, Stroll and the protagonist will be your main damage dealers in this setup by dealing with Bamboo Splitters, Peerless Stone Cleavers, and AoE slash attacks. Equip Stroll with any strength or all stats boosting equipment or even agility boosting accessories since he needs to take his turn first before the protagonist. The third party member is Heismei, wielding the Sniper archetype. His main role is to provide additional DPS and also debuff enemies so the other party members can jump onto enemies easily. The Sniper archetype provides you with Pierce AoE attack options, again useful with multiple enemies weak to Pierce. However, I don't use Myriad Shots or Wild Salvo that much since the Swordmaster can wipe enemies easily. Use Myriad Shots or Wild Salvo if the targets are weak to Pierce damage. but Smashing Salvo is the skill that you are going to be using a lot, allowing you to deal with heavy pierce physical damage and lowers the target's defense in the process. Nothing crazy about Pierce Dodge and Harvest passives, and these are just good bonuses. When it comes to inherited skills, I only had 2 slots when I recorded this guide, so the first slot will be taken by Dikaja, and this is pretty standard in all of my builds. Being able to dispel buffs on enemies is a must, especially in boss fights. We can lower down the enemy's defense by casting the Smashing Salvo, so I suggest slotting in Tarunda so you can lower down enemy attacks as well. The third slot could be anything you prefer if you have it unlocked. Now this is where things will get spicier. The Synthesis ability Mania Bullet deals heavy physical pierce damage to one enemy and applies a one-time weakness to slash, pierce, and strike. You do remember that we do have a crazy strong slash damage skills, right? So this skill will work wonders for this setup. I will explain the strategy later on, so stay tuned for that. Equip Heistme with strength increasing equipment or equipping all stats increasing accessories and you are good to go. If this guide is providing value so far, subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and engaging in the comments helps me a lot and I appreciate your support. Hulkenberg is the 4th member in this setup, wielding the Assassin archetype. Her main role is to provide additional dark damage, casting buffs, and make the synthesis attacks work. The Assassin archetype is a pretty interesting archetype that deals physical dark damage and slash damage for normal attacks. Your bread and butter attacks will be Lurking Nightblade, which deals medium physical dark damage to one enemy and lowers the enemy's hit and evasion, useful in boss fights. The second one is Assassinate, which deals heavy physical dark damage and gives the wielder a chance to one-shot targets. Steal is always a good skill to use to get rare weapons, especially when fighting rare bosses, so make it a habit to steal. Curse Chant is another interesting skill that can cast Hex to all enemies, and Hex makes targets suffer half of the damage they dealt back to them, so it is a nasty status effect. So when fighting bosses that can be inflicted with Hex, it is a suggested strategy since bosses naturally hits a lot of damage, so half of it will be reflected. I don't use Elusive Dreams that much since it costs 20 MP and only gains 5 MP back, and the damage is not that great in my opinion. Load up Hulkenberg with Shelter Formation to increase the damage mitigation of the whole party. In this setup, Hulkenberg will take her turn last, so using the Shelter Formation will move the entire party to the back formation, useful when there's a strong AoE attack coming. I equip her with Slash Boost as well to boost her normal slash attacks damage and Matarukaja to boost the entire party's attack. In this setup, you can have 3 stacks of attack buff on the first turn if you wish to. When it comes to synthesis skills, both the God Killer and the Phantom Tracer are remarkable skills. If you need to burst down an enemy who is weak to dark, use the God Killer and go into town. But the Phantom Tracer on the other hand deals tons of damage to a single target and dispels enemy buffs as well. Phantom Tracer is useful just in case Heistme is not able to debuff the enemy with Dikaja. Now you might be wondering how to sustain the party without any healers. At mid game, I don't find the need for a dedicated healer archetype, and items like Spirit Dust can do the job. However, at end game, this will change so you can relax for now. Playing this build is pretty straightforward, nothing too fancy going on. Depending on the number of targets, openers will surely change of course. Let's say we are dealing with a single target. In the start of battle, Heistme will cast Smashing Salvo to deal damage and lower down the enemy's defense. Stroll will then cast Formation Vigor to buff the party, then the protagonist will use Bamboo Splitter or Assassinate. The same thing with Hulkenberg, she will use Assassinate or Synthesis abilities if the protagonist does not use the turn icons. And in the next turns, use the abilities that you see fit and adjust accordingly. Remember the killer combo that I mentioned? To do it properly, Heistme will first cast Mania Bullet to make the target weak to slash damage. Stroll will then cast Formation Vigor to buff the entire party, and when the protagonist is ready to take his turn, cast Peerless Stone Cleaver to decimate the boss. The target will suffer huge damage since the protagonist was buff and the enemy is weak against slash damage. Truly a good combo. The Kingsglaive build is a setup that will decimate mid-game challenges and carry you through to the end game. But if you want to know the best early to mid-game grinding spots in the game so you can make this build, click on the videos and I will catch you on the next one.